Cody won that. That's the first time that he has had an interaction with Roman Reigns where I felt like he definitively won. Dave, that segment was everything. We could have talked the rest of this show about it. And I don't know where you want to start, but I got ideas.
I got a lot. So, you mentioned you have ideas. What are those ideas? Like what was the first thing that struck you when you heard that promo on Friday night?
The first thing that struck me was the camera angles and the red line camera. No blur. When you turn, there was no blur. They did a front and backside shot. So every time Roman spoke, a camera was facing him and a camera was behind him. Same thing with Cody. Then they had a drone that was shooting down and shooting from a far angle. So it was two drones, or they did a separate shots. Like watching the view that we saw was absolutely crazy. And then secondly, they went straight Hollywood on our ass. They went Law and Order. Every time somebody made a point, boom, sound effect. Then they had not only the sound effects, but they had the ominous music real low playing behind everything. And like it was a masterful job of production. It was a Hollywood production shot. Looking at the entrances, you can say a lot about stuff from the entrance. There's a lot of wrestlers that have shitty entrances, bad music, bad lighting, stuff don't coordinate, pyro that don't meet the mark, whatever. When Roman Reigns came in with 5 cars, 2 cars in the front, 2 cars in the back, him in the middle, it made him look regal. It made him look special. It was like, oh wow, I'm here for this. What's going on? Who's getting out of here? The president? What's going on? And then you have Cody pull up. Sports car, $3,000 Italian leather shoe, hit the ground. They show him with this textured Italian leather shoe. And then he get out dressed with a $10,000 suit on. But the most incredible accessory that he had was that title over his shoulder. And then he walked, they did the slow walk, the action walk. They did so much movie stuff. By the time that they got to the middle, it was plus 8 minutes. And then they started to get into it. And now let's go from there.
All right, so
I'd like to ask Mark a question since you mentioned the word movie. Mark, did that scene remind you of any particular scene from any movie?
You know what? I saw several movies. There was one that stands out to me. It was called Heat.
Ding, ding, ding. Circle gets the square.
Exactly. That was the number one that hit me. And you had Al Pacino and
De Niro.
Robert De Niro.
And De Niro. 2 equals when it come to talking shit on TV. There's very few men that can stand toe-to-toe with either one of those as individual. But to put them 2 actors together, it was like lightning in a bottle. I don't know if we'll ever see it again. But nonetheless, in pro wrestling, it worked. And now if I'm a high-level wrestler in WWE, I'm like, hey, remember that shit y'all did with Cody and Roman? Holla at your boy. I gotta do that.
Not everybody's gonna get
I
that.
want it. I'm begging
I'm sure
for
you
it.
do. By the way, Bull, you mentioned Heat, and Mark, you mentioned Heat. You know, you mentioned De Niro and Pacino. That was the only time. They've been in movies together, but it was the only scene that they were in the exact same scene together. So the build up to that one scene is incredible. And I think the build up to what we saw on Friday night was incredible. So I want to start from the foundation of it because it's interesting what they were able to do. And Bully, and we talk about promos and having a microphone in hand. And also you got to, I think we could all admit, nobody does production like WWE does production. And this was even on another level than what we normally see from the WWE. Like Mark said, I agree with. This was Hollywood. You don't usually see that type of production in pro wrestling, but we saw it on Friday night. So, Bully, let me ask you straight up. For you, did you like it in the sense of having a quote-unquote face-off that was overproduced, polished, or would you have rather have seen that face-to-face in the ring in front of an audience in an arena?
I did not like it. I absolutely loved it.
Okay. I was going to say, because I loved it. All right, so, but this is a little bit different than what we normally see. So what was it about it that you absolutely loved?
What was there not to love about it? Everything about it I loved. From how Mark just said, the way Roman pulled up, the way Cody pulled up, the way they met in the middle of the field, what being in that particular place at that particular moment in time meant, what the city meant. Everything about it was awesome. Deep-rooted storytelling. And Dave, you just asked me, would I have liked to have seen it there or would I like to have seen it in an arena? The best thing the WWE did was not have that face-to-face happen in an arena. Do you know
Can
what
I
would have
interject something?
Yes, you can.
I know it's
Go.
your moment, Bully.
No. It's our moment. It's always our moment. You go.
In Heat, did they meet at a police station? Nope. Did they meet somewhere in a strip club or a casino? Nope. They met in the middle, in like a diner, in like a place that was nondescript, that had nothing to do with nothing. We come on equal ground, and we get this conversation in. For them to come to Atlanta and not go to wrestling, and to go somewhere where the place signified both of them actually, because Roman played for 3 years there. That was his home for 3 years. But where is his home? In Cody City. And Cody said, look, just point it just down there. There was a place called Omni. Generations of my family bled there. He made it personal. They sucked me in so deep. Dave, I wish y'all got to watch the podcast for this. You got to go to YouTube and see my face. I'm leaning in like a little kid. Oh, man. I got my hand over my mouth, Dave. I can't believe what I'm seeing. I've been wanting this for wrestling forever. Now we can get in the running for an Oscar. Now we can get Emmys. People look at us seriously. And you know what? Right at the top. Go to the top of the food chain. The Rock, Triple H. That's where it falls. They're responsible. The actors, the performers did their job. The production staff did their job. None of them would have been able to do shit if it wouldn't have been for The Rock going, hey, we not elaborate enough. We're not special enough. And Triple H going, you're right. And we're going to get it right this time. Pro wrestling should be patting both of those people on the back right now because they're not making it just for WWE. AEW, get your game up. TNA, better ask somebody. New Japan, if you're not doing what you just saw, you're going to disappear. And every other company, all Caribbean, uh, MLW, Northeast, you name a wrestling entity, y'all all gonna fall to the wayside if you don't find somebody that can do that type of production and to keep people's interest, because now that's the standard. Sorry, Bully.
It's going to be hard to top what we saw. But Bully, you were saying about doing it in the arena, and you said that this should not be in the arena. What do you mean by that?
If this promo would have happened in an arena, you guys tell me who would have been cheered and who would have been booed.
They would have cheered Roman, and they'd have booed Cody, because Cody was saying shit that didn't sound like a babyface talking.
Dave, do you agree with Mark?
I totally disagree with Mark. I think just the opposite. I think Roman in that face-to-face on Friday, it told you everything you need to hear, where Roman has not changed. This is the same Roman Reigns that we've always seen from and heard from. Everything that came out of Roman's mouth comes out of the mouth of a heel.
Can I give you one point, Dave?
Go ahead.
Can I give you 1 point to change your mind?
You're not going to change my mind, but try.
If you and I are having a heated discussion and you tell me, you know what, Mark? Okay, whatever. And you go to walk off and I step in front of you and go, hey, don't walk off on me. Who's the good guy? Who's the bad guy?
Yeah, it shows you who's on top. Cody's the champ. Cody's the champ. And Bully, I don't want to get
help me.
Bully,
somebody,
I don't want to get away from your point.
Nation,
Bully, I don't want to get away from your point. I want to go back to it. But Roman, everything that came out of Roman's mouth is the same thing that would have came out of Roman's mouth a year ago, 2 years ago, during this entire bloodline story. He has not changed at all. And let me tell you something else.
You know what else he didn't change? His tone and his inflection. I've been saying this since day one, and I said it before anybody else said it. And I told the kid to his face in Ring of Honor, Cody is a heel. Detach your emotions from Cody and how much you love him. Go back and listen to the promo and close your eyes.
Please.
Listen to Cody's tone. Everything about him, what he said to Roman, was said in a heel tone. His different levels, it was actually, when Cody starts to do this, he's talking down to Roman.
To you.
Roman keeps the same level at all times. And when Roman, I actually saw a piece of video from a fan that was taping the arena while the promo was going on. And when Roman said to Cody that he was taking back the championship, the place popped huge. The place was quiet for the most of the promo, but when he said what he said, the place popped huge. Now, that's neither here nor there. What I'm saying is, you put this in front of people. I don't care if it's Cody's home city. I don't care if Roman played football there. It's the way they spoke to one another. And you hear the tone and the inflection in my voice go up and down. You guys know the way I speak. I can come across in a very condescending way. I'm very conscious of it. I'm not trying to come across in a condescending way. It's just my pattern of talking from being in wrestling so long, and because I'm such an effective heel. And only an effective heel can hear that tone in Cody's voice. What Cody's saying about the Omni and where I live and this and that, yes, he's right, but he's not saying it in a genuine babyface way. Thus, it is perceived differently.
I can't
hold
argue.
on, Dave.
Okay.
The minute I said what I said about what would happen if this was in an arena, the other guy that's been doing this for 30 years, bang, knew the answer. Not because I called him before the show and I told him the answer. He knew the answer. Because it's so glaring to us. If Cody Rhodes would have turned heel tomorrow on Roman Reigns, it would work in a heartbeat. I'm done.
Okay, couple of things. And listen, Bully, what you're saying, and Mark, what you're saying, it's not wrong, because, Bully, perception is reality. The first thing you told me, Bully, is take your emotions out of it. Take your fandom out of it. It's impossible to do, because every fan of Cody and every WWE fan and everybody that's a part of the WWE universe has been on this journey with Cody. And those same fans have been on this journey with Roman as well. It's very hard to say, all right, take your fandom out of it, take your passion out of it, take your emotion out of it.
You're right. That what I just said to you about take your emotions out of it, I should have explained myself a lot better. I meant in trying to understand where I'm coming from about Cody's tone and inflection, take your emotions out of it as far as how much you love Cody. Because you told Mark, you go, you're not going to change my mind. Meaning there's no matter what you guys can say, I'm not changing my mind. But if I'm telling you, take your emotional connection to Cody out of this and just listen to both men's tone, you might see where we're coming from.
I would definitely see where you're coming from. If I never watched Cody and Roman before Friday night, and I was somebody that was a wrestling fan from years ago, and I was, detached, and now this was my first time watching wrestling in 20 years. Mark, Bully, you would both be right. I would have watched that promo and I would have said that Roman's the babyface and Cody's the heel. And a lot of it, and you're right, a lot of it has to do with the inflection, what was being said. But for me as a fan from Cody, a lot of what I heard and saw from Cody is something I've been wanting to see from Cody for a long time. A lot of what I saw on Friday in that face-to-face with Roman is a lot of what I would have loved to have seen from Cody in some of those faces-to-faces with The Rock that we did not get. Like Bully, and you used to call for it, like, come on, man. Let me see that other side. How are you letting this happen? Show me a little bit. Come on, put some bass in your voice. I got that. It was
putting bass in your voice is a lot different than speaking like a douche nozzle.
I don't think he was talking like a douche nozzle. But I understand where you're coming from if you were going to make that statement. There's a lot here. Go ahead, Mark.
You and Bully saying the same thing, because we all said it, especially when Cody lost the first time. And we said he needed to be built. He needed to go through hard times. He needed to be sharpened. Guess what, Dave? Cody's sword is razor sharp now. And he cut Roman ass. And he was swinging it. There's a term that I'm not going to use on this show because I might get in trouble. But Cody's swinging it right now. He's full of himself. He can feel the power now. He's Neo. He's unplugged. He's ready to go. But I'm going to tell you, not that I ever been in there, but I seen an argument between a guy and his wife before. A disagreement. And it's not always what you say, but how you say it. And this particular guy said, will you just be quiet and listen for a change? Oh, that didn't go over very well.
Mark.
Didn't go over very well.
Mark, Vince McMahon had to have a talk with me about how I would talk to the agents. He said, Bubba, 90% of the time, you're right. Your ideas are better. but it's the way you talk to them. It's the way you say it. I can't take your side. So when you're talking, it's like, bang, I'm getting hit right between the eyes because you're so right. It doesn't matter how you say the words. It doesn't matter what the words are. It matters how you say the words. I loved what I heard from Cody. As far as actual words coming out of his mouth, I loved it. I loved what I heard from both guys. I'm glad they went outside the box and decided to do it in a setting that didn't involve fans. Because if it would have involved fans, I don't think they would have loved Cody.